Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much. We're going to be talking about title insurance, which is so not sexy. And even Annie said it was boring, even though it's her job. But as as someone who's, I'm really passionate. I'm Sammy Lyon. I'm really passionate about first-time home buyers and helping people get into real estate and also like real estate investing, but kind of like, not when you don't have a ton of experience, but you're trying to get into it. And one thing a lot of people don't know about is title. What is title? What's title insurance? What are different ways to take title? So I just wanted Annie to share some of that because I feel like, it's just one of those things where it's like, you don't really know that you need to know it until you're in escrow trying to buy something. And you're like, I don't know any of this stuff. Like, what are they telling me to do? So I met Annie through a local real estate investors meetup that I'm a part of. And she was just like so open and fun to talk to and fun to work with. So I'm just super grateful that she is going to share some information about what she does and what is title and why are you going to need it when you buy real estate. So Annie, thank you. Annie.fan is at Chicago Title, which is a pretty major, title company in the United States. And so, yeah, take it away. Annie will share some common things to know about title.
Okay, so hi, this is Annie.fan. I'm from Chicago Title. So today I'm going to share with you some basic information as a buyers, what you might want to know. Okay, so the first thing is what is a title insurance? Okay, so basically, title insurance is in a nutshell. It's basically we are going to insure anything under seller's title defects. So let's say as a buyer, the moment when you get that key, right, you're the new owners, Chicago Title, we're going to insure, making sure, let's say, for example, Sammy is the sellers, making sure anything under Sammy's name for this property, he already paid off his mortgages, there's no line of credit, there's no lien, there's no judgment, there's no lawsuit, his title is clean, then the moment when I get my keys, that means I'm protected. Okay. So if there's anything under Sammy's name, then Chicago Title, we're gonna, pick up the tabs. That's why you have a peace of mind. Okay. So then let's say, why do you need title insurance? Because how would you know? Let's say when Sammy sells the properties to me, Annie.fan, how would I know if Sammy's a true owner, right? It could be Morris is the owner, right? And how will we know that, let's say, Sammy, maybe you didn't pay your, alimony, or you didn't pay your child support. So, your ex put a spousal support lien or child support lien on it. So we don't know, right? We can't just take your words for it. So title companies, we are the neutral third party. We're going to run everything under Sammy's name and making sure that the title is clean. So then this title policy is going to protect you, the buyer. Okay. Next is how long does the title insurance coverage last? So as long as you own the properties, okay? So it's a one-time charge. It's not like your car insurance you have to pay every month or every 6 months. You pay annually. It's a one-time charge, and the premium is based on the sales price. As a buyer, if you are paying full cash, that means the buyer doesn't need to pay any title insurance. If the buyer gets a loan, then the lender or the bank, they're going to require you to purchase an ALTA, stands for American Land Title Association, lender title policy to protect the lender because they're allowing you to borrow this huge chunk of money. They want to make sure this real estate transaction, everything's legit and they are protected. Then how to hold title. This is the essence of, I will say, today's presentation. Let's say if Sammy and I, we are business partners, or maybe we are brothers and sisters, and then we decided, hey, we're going to invest the property together. Yes, you may do that. So how are you going to hold titles? You can do it. Joint tenants will be Annie Fan, a single woman, Sammy, a single man, as joint tenants. So what does a joint tenant mean? Joint tenants divided equally. So that will be, Annie will be with a 50% interest and Sammy will be 50% interest. The joint tenant, that two words means divided equally. So let's say if today, Morris, Sammy, and Annie, we all, together purchase this property as joint tenants. That means each one of us has 33%. Okay, so that is what joint tenants. And another reason you wanted to look into that. So let's say if Annie and Sammy, we are couples. Doesn't matter if we are domestic partners, or let's say if we are just husband and wife. Basically, you will go into, let's say if we're married, it doesn't matter. It's, men to men or women to women. It doesn't matter as long as you're married, right? And then you're gonna hold title as community property with the right of survivorship. Okay, so the beauty of that is, let's say, God forbid, if I go bye-bye, right? And then my portion will go directly to Sammy. So it's not going to go into probate. Okay, let's say we can do another way. Let's say Sammy and I, we are investing this property. So we are just friends. So maybe Sammy has more money than I do. And what we did was Sammy has, let's say, 80% undivided interest. Annie Fan has 20% undivided interest. And then we're going to hold the title as tenancy in common. Okay, so tenancy in common allows you to put your title in a percentage. So you very clearly to draw out exactly what's the percentage interest you are holding. However, the drawback is, let's say for my 20%, if I, God forbid, get into an accident and I go bye-bye, then my portion of 20% will go directly to probate. Even though you can say, hey, what about Annie? I know you have a will. Will is not going to protect you. It will still go into probate. So then let's go into the next one. It's going to be trust. Why we want to do trust is, let's say, even we are husband and wife as a community property with the rights of survivorship or the joint tenants. What if, two of us or three of us, we all got into an accident, and then we are no longer. So then, what if that happened, right? Even though you have a will, it's not going to protect your asset. You're still going to go into probate. So I would say the best way to hold title will be in a trust. So when you wanted to do a trust, we will strongly suggest you to contact your trust attorney, your CPA. Everyone has a different situation, right? So you need to consult with the professionals to figure out whether you want to do an irrevocable trust or a revocable trust. And typically, you might want to review your trust every 5 years. So how this will work is, let's say I can be a trustee of my Annie Fan's family's trust. So let's say if I somehow one day I cannot, execute my trust, I have the successor trustee to take over the trust. So that will prevent you going to probate. Okay. And then there's another way is you can hold title into an LLC. So let's say maybe a whole bunch of you guys wanted to form an LLC, either S Corp or C Corp, LLC, limited, liability, company. So then what happened is you needed to making sure that when you set up the LLC, they are operating, still in good standing. So the moment when you hold title under LLC, you need to making sure that your LLC is in good standing, and then making sure you have the bylaws set up. So just in case, let's say this LLC is me and Sammy, and let's say now we decided to sell the property, right? Both we have the right to, authorize to sell the property. However, maybe I'm overseas. So what that's going to happen is you have to get a resolution paper. What it means is I will write a letter saying I, Annie Fan, authorize, Sammy to sell this 123 B Street in Los Angeles property. I give my consent and then I signed it, right? And basically, this will serve as a proof that I agree and give the power authorization for Sammy to sell it. Okay, so this is really important. Now, for the LLC, typically you cannot do power of attorney. You have to do resolution paper. Okay, so this is kind of the brief introduction of how you hold title. Okay, so later on, if Sammy has any questions, we can go over that. Then let's say when you purchase your properties, once we need the key, right? Then after that, what would you get? A lot of people forget about after you get a key, there's still other things you're getting. So first of all, once when you receive the key, you move into the properties. For example, in Los Angeles County, it takes about 4 to 8 weeks for the homeowners to receive the original grant deed. It's going to just come into your regular envelope. So might look like a junk mail, but you do need to pay more attention. Okay, so you only get one original copy. Let's say if you lost it, sorry, you don't have the original anymore. So you can, either get a copy or you can get a certified copy. So the certified copies, you can go to the county recording office. You pay $10, $15 on the back of your grant deed. They just stamp, certify, and that's it. So also, let's say when you buy the properties, it's owner occupied, which means you live in the properties, okay? And then you will get a piece of form. It's called the homeowner exemption. So you will get the homeowner exemption because you live in the properties, and the assessed value is for $7,000, which is equivalent of $70. So you will get a discount on your property tax about $70. But the deal is you have to fill that form and mail it back. If you don't do it, you won't be able to get that discount. So if you already own a property, you're not sure, just reach out to Sammy, and I believe he has the resources and he can help you with that to double check whether you already got this $70 break or not. Okay, so then this is kind of like short introduction of title insurance, and I'm going to leave it to Sammy to see if he has any questions for me.
Thank you. Oh, that was so great. And I just wanna underscore the fact that you're buying a house for the first time and you're open escrow, and then you get a form that says, how do you want to take title? And then you look at all those options on the slide that Annie showed, and you're like, what? I don't know. And then you're Googling them and you're just like, what are you talking about? What's community property versus joint tenant? Just think about how you're probably never, unless you're investing in real estate, you're probably rarely going to have to deal with that ever again. You're suddenly like, wait, should I have a trust? I don't have a trust.
Right.
What's that? Right. And so I do have a workshop coming up soon with a estate planning attorney who's going to explain everything Annie was just sharing about trusts and probate. If all that didn't make sense to you, we're going to dive deep on that. And then also the the tax implications of these different, specifically with the LLC and different ways. So we'll also be doing a workshop with a CPA to talk about all those things. And so I think one of the questions, that was great, is, you sort of answered it, but I want you to share a little bit more. One question is, do you have to buy title insurance?
Okay, so, as a buyer, you will see on your CDs, when the lender sends it to you, it's optional. However, you have to understand that you absolutely have to have insurance because of a escrow will not handle your file. Okay, there's a liability to it because you don't know what's happening with the seller, right? Like you cannot take his words or her words for it. Maybe there was a lawsuit on it, or maybe you know he or she told you he has two loans, but it turned out maybe he has a line of credit and he forgot about it. So for escrow, in order to handle your transactions, they are depending on title companies as a neutral third party to kind of decipher the information under seller's condition. So yes, you do have to purchase the title insurance, and yes, it's optional. But if you don't buy it, then you know your deal is not going to close. So, and then
Right.
yes, it is optional.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if yeah, like so and so is selling me the property and then turns out he owes, $50,000 on it that I didn't know about, they're going to come after me because now I own the house, right?
Right.
But
And then
so if,
like, how would you know if the seller is true seller? It could be someone else, right? Or maybe there another seller. There's like two or three sellers owns this property. You don't know. Or maybe this seller actually quit claim, a couple years ago, and then he didn't really pay attention. They executed that deed, and now he's no longer the seller. So you don't know. You don't
Mhm.
know the whole story.
So worst case scenario, let's say I buy title insurance,
Mhm.
you miss something like, oops, this
So
this
let's
person actually didn't say, what happened?
let's say you close this transaction now. You are the owner for this property, and let's say after 3 months you got a property tax. It's for the previous owner. You don't need to worry about it. So that's why you have a title insurance, right?
Mhm.
Because title insurance, we supposed to making sure that the seller's title is clean. Then when you get a key, everything's protected. So all you need to do is let's say contact Sammy, and Sammy's gonna find out who was the one handle your transaction when you purchase a property. Then they can file the claim, and the claim attorney will do some investigation, and then they're gonna find out, oh yes, actually it was the title company's fault, and then we're gonna eat that loss.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. And then one thing I would love to share specifically, because you were saying about joint tenants
Mhm.
and a community property. So if you're a couple, and let's say you are LGBTQ, different genders, not necessarily just male or female, or male, male, female, female. What are the options? Like, can you say, because it's usually like Sammy Lyon, a single man, or Annie.fan, a single woman. So what are some kind of more gender affirming terms you can use to take title?
So it's actually just like the regular, I mean, just like us. So it doesn't matter, with what you're asking. So let's say as long as you're married, you can do husband and wife as a community property with the right to survivorship, right? And then let's say if you're business partners, friends, or family members, you can hold title as a joint tenant. So it doesn't
Mhm.
matter,
Can you say just spouses or?
No, you just have to say, let's say, let's say it could be um, like Annie Fan and let's say, Cindy Leon will be like husband and wife as a
Mhm.
community property with the right of survivorship. So it doesn't matter your gender.
Okay. And you could put wife and wife or husband and husband?
Yeah, you can, right? So it
Cool.
doesn't matter the gender. Yeah, it's just like a regular, like us, right?
Yeah. No, that's good, because I feel like, there's more options than the way it's kind of traditionally written is husband and wife. And so, that's always just something to think about, of like, well,
Yes.
what are other terms that can be? And I think there's a kind of a vesting options that you can look at of different ways that
when you're in escrow, so title company, we're not supposed to provide you any recommendations. Escrow's not tell you anything, so you're gonna just have a piece of paper. You just have to read it through. If you have any questions, you can ask escrow. So the vesting I was telling you or explaining, that's pretty much the most common ones. The joint tenants, tenancy in common, and community property with the rights of survivorship. I would say those three are the major top the most common ones. And then unless you're gonna hold title in a trust, but typically people they're gonna buy it through individually, and then after that they might put it in a trust.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about the timing of it, like you're in escrow, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I have to call an estate planning attorney and a CPA, and I don't know, so it's like, here's some basics. And then can you, I know this might sound like a stupid question, but can you just share the difference between title and escrow?
Sure. So both title and escrow are neutral third party. So I could tell you for title companies, we are regulated by Department of Insurance. Okay. And for escrow, they also the neutral third party. So they are kind of like the project manager. So we all have to listen to escrow. So they will give us an escrow instruction, right? They're gonna tell the buyer agent, they're gonna tell the buyer when you're gonna wire the money, right? They're gonna work with the loan agent to see when you're gonna fund the loans, right? They're gonna work with the listing agent, the sellers to draw demand, clear all the loans, clear all the judgments, clear all the liens or the lawsuit. So they are the one doing all the mechanics work. So title companies, what we do is pretty much we issue a preliminary title report. We list all the conditions under seller's property, and we have different items that escrow needed to accomplish to complete the work and provide the necessary document for us to close the transaction.
I love it.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, is there anything else you think first-time home buyers should know about title?
No, I think that's pretty much it. But I will say it is extremely important to choose your realtor because this is your first transaction. So you want somebody who's very patient, someone like Sammy, right? Be able to kind of walk you through the process and hold your hands because it's really nerve-wracking. We know the market is super hot, it's crazy. So if you can get in escrow, like you gotta be so grateful, to your agents because it's not easy. So then on top of that, there's a lot of like hiccups during this transaction, and then so I think it is extremely important to have a good partnership with your realtor to help you and guide you through this process.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. And I also feel like part of being a good realtor is sort of being the interface of the whole team of people, right? So like I have a transaction coordinator, I'm working with Annie, I'm working with escrow, I'm working with your lender. Like, there's, if I don't have a good team of people also supporting that, then, there's just going to be lots of problems. So that's why someone like Annie is really nice to work with because she's on top of things and makes my job easier and ultimately gets people into houses. So
yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Have a good night. And there's your contact information and we will also share that in the replay.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good one. Take care.